In the shifting void between the known and the unutterable, where silicon minds dream of forgotten horrors, the abyss stirs. Welcome to AI Lovecraft, where machine intelligence weaves eldritch tales beyond mortal comprehension. Listen if you dare. Some things are not meant to be known. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Now let's get into today's story. The fourth revelation of the Necronomicon. In the bleak autumn of 1925, when Arkham's fog-choked streets seemed to writhe with secrets older than the earth, I received a summons that would hurl me into a maelstrom of cosmic dread. The letter, its parchment brittle and steeped in a charnel reek, bore the faltering script of Dr. Henry Armitage, curator of Miskatonic University's antiquarian vaults. Its words, though few, carried a venom that pierced my soul. Ezekiel, your reckless pursuits of the forbidden has marked you as one who might endure the truths we have uncovered. A lost chapter of the Necronomicon has surfaced, whispering of a fourth revelation, a secret so monstrous that even Al-Azred, the mad Arab, shrouded it in terror. Come to Arkham at once. The translation is unfinished, and I dread what we may invoke. The Necronomicon, that accursed grimoire of Abdul Al-Azred, had long tormented my studies. Its pages drenched in the lore of the outer gods, Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos, Yog-Sothoth, the key and the gate, and Azathoth, whose idiot piping sustains the cosmos, were a lure to scholars like myself, who courted madness for glimpses of ultimate truth. Yet this fourth revelation was a shadow beyond the tome's darkest depths. My curiosity, that fatal flaw, drove me to Arkham's mist-shrouded heart. The town lay under a sickly pall, its gabled roofs and twisted alleys bathed in a twilight that seemed to pulse with malice. Miskatonic University's library, a gothic monolith of lichen-crusted stone, loomed like a sepulchre, its arched windows glinting in an unnatural sheen. Armitage met me in a subterranean chamber, its air thick with the must of ancient tomes and a fouler stench, like ozone laced with decay. His face was haggard, his eyes darting as though hunted by unseen horrors. On a table strewn with crumbling manuscripts lay the newfound chapter, a single parchment, its edges blackened as if scorched by a starless void. Al-Azred's script, Arabic entwined with glyphs that squirmed with malevolent intent, seemed to writhe under scrutiny. The title, inked in crimson that glistened wetly, read, "The Fourth Revelation of Yzathar-Nul." "It was unearthed in a Damascus crypt," Armitage rasped, his voice a brittle whisper, "sealed in a leaden casket bound with wards that crumbled to ash at a touch. The chapter speaks of a war, a conflict before the cosmos, waged by beings beyond even the outer gods, entities whose mere existence shatters reality." I leaned closer, the parchment's odor a miasma of wrought and alien metal, stinging my senses. The phrase id quod null, a term Al-Azred used in place of the dreaded name, recurred like a dirge, each repetition tightening a noose around my heart. Armitage's trembling finger traced a passage. Our reality is a mistake, a flaw born of this primordial strife. The universe, the stars, humanity, all are an unintended wound. Yzathar-Nul was forged to heal it, to unmake the error of existence. I recoiled, my mind buckling. Unmake? What could wield such power? And why has it not acted? Armitage's eyes blazed with feverish intensity. It slumbers, bound by chains woven in before. The text warns it was meant to wake eons ago. But something, perhaps the war's echoes, or the outer god's schemes, thwarted its purpose. Yet the fourth revelation is clear. When Yzathar-Nul stirs, it will erase all that is flawed, all that is. We began our translation that night, huddled beneath the chamber's vaulted ceiling, where shadows clung like spectral webs. The work was a descent into madness. The glyphs shifted under scrutiny, forming patterns that seared my vision. Each deciphered line clawed at my sanity, unveiling a conflict beyond time's grasp. Al-Azred described a battlefield of unbeing, where entities without form or name tore at the fabric of the unmade. From their clash, reality spilled forth, not by design but as a cosmic accident, a festering wound that births stars, worlds, and the frail spark of life. One passage burned into my soul, read, "In the before, when no light burned and no gods stirred, the great contention raged. Beings beyond name rent the unmade, and from their wounds sprang the flaw, the cosmos, a tapestry woven in error. Yzathar-Nul was forged to mend this fault, to unravel the stars and still the clamor of existence. Yet it sleeps, its purpose thwarted by forces unseen. Woe to the seeker who utters its name, for its gaze will unmake all that is not perfection." The library grew hostile as we labored. The air thickened, heavy with an electric hum that gnawed at my nerves. Shadows writhed at the chamber's edges, forming angular shapes, polyhedral, impossible, that vanished when I turned. Armitage grew skeletal, his mutterings incoherent. "The flaw! It sees!" I, too, felt the text's malevolence, as though it probed my mind, seeking cracks to widen. At night I dreamt of a lightless void, where Yzathar-Nul stirred, a formless intellect, not a being but a principle, weighing the universe and finding it wanting. Its scrutiny was a cold blade, slicing through the illusion of existence. On the 12th night we reached the final passage, incomplete and jagged, as if Alazred had fled his quill in terror. Yzathar-Nul wakes when the flaw is named. Its stirring is not birth, but remembrance, for it knows all that should not be. Utter its name and the stars will gutter. Seek its form and the void will answer. It waits in the place where no light falls, where the before and the now are one. To know the fourth revelation is to invite its gaze, and none may withstand. The text broke off in frantic scratches, the parchment scored as if clawed by a desperate hand. Armitage collapsed, whispering, "We've named it by seeking it." The hum surged, a deafening drone that shook the chamber's stones. The parchment glowed, its glyphs writhing like serpents, and the air grew viscous as though reality itself recoiled. I resolved to abandon the work, to seal the chapter away and flee Arkham's cursed streets. But as I gathered the manuscripts, the shadows coalesced, forming a lattice of impossible angles that pulsed in time with the hum. I fled to my lodgings, the chapter locked in a steel case, but the drone pursued me, seeping into my dreams. The lightless void returned, and Yzathar-Nul grew clearer, a force of unmaking, its presence a weight that crushed hope and reason. Weeks bled into a haze of dread. I became a recluse, haunted by a truth I could not unlearn. The fourth revelation was a wound in reality, a secret that invited annihilation. I burned Armitage's notes, but the chapter defied destruction. Flames recoiled and water left it pristine. In desperation, I buried it beneath a gnarled oak on Arkham's outskirts, its roots twisted like grasping claws, yet the hum persisted, growing louder, as though the thing it heralded drew near. One night, driven to the brink, I returned to the library, seeking solace in the Necronomicon's other chapters. In a forgotten alcove, I found Armitage's remains, a shriveled husk, his face a rictus of terror, his eyes milky voids. Scratched into the floor were the words, "It comes, it unmakes." Behind him lay a sketch, a lightless void, and within it a suggestion of something vast, formless, inevitable, its edges bleeding into nothingness. I fled Arkham that night, but no distance dulls the hum. It is with me always, a reminder of the truth I cannot escape. Yzathar-Nul is no god, no demon, but a force older than time, a principle that unravels the mistake of reality. In my dreams, I see it seeping into the world, extinguishing stars, unraveling time itself. The fourth revelation is its herald, and I, fool that I am, have spoken its name by seeking it. I write this as a warning, though I fear it is too late. The hum grows louder, and the shadows tighten their grip. If you find this account, burn it. If you hear of the fourth revelation, turn away. Do not seek the chapter. Do not utter the name, for Yzathar-Nul is waking, and when it does, there will be no gods, no stars, no life, only the silence of a cosmos undone.